I will call the December meeting of the Webster Grove Traffic Advisory Council to order. Let's do a quick roll call. Clark O'Kaling here. Kevin Radich, present. All right. Susan Sunderman
Here.
Rob here. Eric Toman is stuck out of town. Carrie should be here shortly. She's in the stairwell.
He's in the building.
That's awesome.
That was classic.
Just
Great. All right. This is the time where we get to review and approve the minutes from last month. We were so sorry that we were unable to be here with us, Mayor, but you sent a very good
I'm
representative.
sure.
Emily was excellent. We really appreciated her filling in, so thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Look at them, see anything that needed to be changed. They look good to me, as usual.
No. So. It was. Yeah, on the subcommittee, it should be Chris, Carrie, and Susan, not Eric,
Okay.
number 3.
Yeah, I remember you guys had like arm wrestle for that last spot, as I recall.
Everybody wanted to.
Everybody
wanted to.
Yeah.
So, other than that.
Okay, you got that, Erin?
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. Well, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second? Second. All right, all in favor? Opposed? All right, excellent. Quickly, just wanted to, as we do every month, review our commission goals for 24-25. Our number one goal is to use safety as our guiding principle and propose recommendations that are unbiased, transparent, and administered fairly. Number 2 is to be a valuable partner to the Safe Streets for All Task Force. Number 3 is to develop educational programs to introduce complete streets concepts to residents, employers, and city employees. Number 4, streamline our meeting agendas and conduct regular monthly meetings. And 5, finalize our process plan for capturing and evaluating and communicating back to citizens. At this time, if there's any member of the public that would like to give a 3-minute comments, I think Mr. Buck has some observations about blind spots, perhaps, or maybe I'm reading his mind.
Yeah, and I first wanted to say a couple of things on just going back to crosswalks again, and we don't want to get into it, but not all crosswalks in Webster are equal. Carrie, I think the one over by your house, the Hawken House one that crosses South Rock Hill Road to Central, I think maybe this crosswalk in Webster to me. I mean, I just think the button, the lights, everything works. I think the worst crosswalk is from Selma across Big Bend that high school students take after school, and there's just a sign. There's no button, there's no lights. I mean, there's nothing there. And I just think that there's real inequality between the safety benefit of crosswalks, and maybe they should be all consistent. That's just a thought. As Clark said, I think the other thing I want to bring up for 2 words, blind spots. I don't know how many crosswalks are in the city, but I think there are more blind spots in this town. And I experienced 2 today. One was I had a meeting at Eden Seminary. I was coming out of the Eden entrance onto Lockwood, and their cars parked. And you cannot see, it's blind. And so what you do, you lean over your steering wheel and you start to inch out into the street. And you kind of guess a little bit that a car's not coming, so you speed out. But if a car's coming, you either, hit the gas, or you hit the brakes, and you pull back and then you start over again. Same thing happened pulling out of the Straub's parking lot onto Lockwood. And to me, and I know traffic guy, but to me, it's just a matter of sight lines. And I think when you have 2 parked cars that are close to that intersection, but if you eliminated those spots, it simply increases the sideline and it gives the driver in the street or in the parking lot that's exiting a much better sight of cars that are coming. And I know that it's like the crosswalks, that in 20, 30 years, we've never had any accidents. But I just don't think that's a reason why you don't look at it, because I think it's an accident waiting to happen. And I'm surprised more haven't happened, but I've had my share of close calls, and I bet some of you have as well. So that's it.
Great, thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda, Eric is not here to give us Safe Streets for All updates, so we will pass unless you.
I do not have one, no.
to add.
I know they're regularly, actually, I do have a brief one, and that is that meetings continue regularly. The surveys in the field for citizen feedback. It's only been out for a short period of time, and I think they have 75 or 80 responses already. So anything anyone can do to amplify the knowledge about the survey, please do.
Is that, so, are there codes around town?
Yeah, so they
Yes.
used yard signs with QR codes so
Okay.
people could.
So that answers your question.
There's one on Bound Park.
Okay,
At the
great.
library on the corner.
Excellent. Cool. All right, old business. Speaking of blind spots, I'm gonna turn it over to Chris. I'm not that you're a blind spot, but
Creates a blind spot.
this
That's fine.
item is really about blind spots and
It is. So I believe I sent everyone a draft of what I would propose that we take to the city council. I suggested that just so that we didn't waste time trying to draft something with 12 contributors. So I hope you had a chance to take a look. That's as good as I can do on short notice.
no, I think you did a great, I mean, you captured really everything we talked about.
I hope that the diagrams were helpful.
Yes.
So from there, I guess I would suggest that we talk about, is this something you're interested in still? Do you see changes that obvious errors or changes that we want to make? And then perhaps we vote on it and decide whether we want to take it on to the next step.
My only question was, since you have the two alternates, if are you proposing recommending one
I'm really not.
and then,
I thought a lot about our conversation last time, and I thought, it really isn't, well, the most important thing to me is to make the intersection safe. And the best way to make the intersection safe is to get the truck back away from the intersection. Either one of those, I think, will make the thing safer. And I don't have a strong feeling for which one we choose.
if we recommend it, city council, we probably should pick one. What do you think?
Well, I really am on the fence about that. If, as long as if we make our point is to get the truck away from the
Right.
intersection, I'll be happy with either one.
Gary, do you have any?
Did this go to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, we were just saying that, because I don't
Yeah.
remember saying it, but maybe that was me.
I did get it.
Been a crazy month.
You did?
Oh,
It
you
was
did?
probably
I
over
did
a
as
week
well,
ago.
yeah.
Okay,
From Chris.
So,
Not from-
okay. I apologize. I don't think.
oh, well, here, do you
That's on my.
want to see it?
Oh, no, I'll pull it up if it went out. I just somehow missed it.
Oh, do you have it printed out?
I printed one out.
Yeah, then people can see, but. So this doesn't detail what happens to the existing area, which we discussed some. Does it
Well,
stay
I
15-minute
thought
pickup?
I did, but I can clarify. That first few parking places, I want to say maybe 3 parking places off of Lockwood were originally intended to be, they were signed so that people who are picking up food can stop there, run
Oh,
in,
yes.
get their
Yeah.
food and go.
It does say that.
I would suggest those are still valuable, that, that we should use those that way. And just push the truck about 50 yards or 50 feet or so up the street.
Yes, I understand.
I'm sorry, I should have brought a few copies.
I don't think I
didn't
got
do
it,
that.
so it must
Okay.
have been a typo or something.
Wouldn't be
over
the first
email.
time.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna take it personally. I was more worried that I somehow.
So you talked to the owners before.
I just sent it.
Actually, I talked to the, Old Webster, what's it called?
Trade
yeah.
association or the one that is a city entity or the one that's the independent
The
entity?
city.
Okay, so that's the Old Webster
Yeah,
Business District
right.
Commission.
And I spoke with them at their meeting. And then they in turn talked among themselves and they got back to me and basically said they had nothing more to suggest. So the three options that I had originally shown them, they were content with,
Any of them.
any of them.
They don't have a preference for
They
one or
did
the
not,
other.
they didn't share a preference.
Does that catch the entire constituency there? I mean, business area there.
These people are active in that area. I got the impression that they really are take that role seriously.
It sounds like the only three businesses that utilize, that most deliveries come are Clover and the Bee, O&O, and Lemke.
And not the hub.
Not the hub. I think they have delivery in the rear of their space, but those are the primarily, it's primarily those three.
I guess I care what they think specifically.
Well, they were very positive about making the change.
They were all
just
in that
weren't.
group.
Yes,
Okay.
but they were, none of them were like decided, oh, no, it has to be here.
And I think they're also realistic that they can't, they can't control where delivery people park. Because sometimes they park in front of the Presbyterian Church, wherever they can
The
get.
other question is, are we realists?
Well, we all wish that everyone followed every rule, but we all know that's not the case, so. That doesn't mean we ignore the problem.
And I think you've done some good work here, Chris, and I agree that it would be nice to move them up. Personally, I think not in front of Bristol is better. I like it up Lockwood a little bit, but and I just don't know if we want to zero in on one of those two or.
Again,
Clark, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
The way this process will work is you'll submit this, it'll go to the city manager first, and then it'll go to staff for recommendations from staff. And so I don't know.
We've done enough.
Yeah, so I don't know that you need to pick
Okay.
necessarily, because staff will ultimately make some sort of recommendation that will inform the city manager's recommendation to council.
No, thank you. I think that is what I wanted to hear. So I think, do we have any other discussion? I think then we would need a motion to see if we want to move this forward to staff. To have them take a look at it, make a recommendation.
I'm happy to do that. I move that we share this proposal, kind of go to the next step and share this proposal with the city manager and get feedback for consideration.
Did you,
Second. Oh.
well,
sorry.
did you mention in here that they can't get in that back alleyway?
I didn't.
Because that kind of,
That
that's
might
a
be-
natural question, because it's.
It is a natural question and you make a good point. I
Staff
could,
will know that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Susan, were you second?
Second.
All right, well, motion on the table is, as Chris has drawn up, that we would move this forward to, city manager.
Right.
All in favor? Opposed? Excellent.
Okay.
All right,
Listen, I like your pictures.
they're very clear.
They
It's very,
are.
very good.
Nicely done.
I started out to essentially recreate the whole thing graphically. I got about halfway there and I said, no,
No,
this is too much.
that's good. Laid over the area. Nice.
Good.
Good for hire.
Might have some work.
Yeah,
My wife will tell you that
no.
this is what I love to do.
All right, new business. I took a stab at a draft of a letter to Bi-State Metro. We talked last month that twice our route 56 has been scaled back. And they are now reinstating some of the old routes because they're hiring more drivers and they're reinstating. We didn't get reinstated. And the two cuts that have affected us here locally, they went from twice an hour each way to once an hour. And then they eliminate weekends. And it's very detrimental in my opinion. I took the bus and the Metrolink to the History Museum Thursday night for a concert. And I was waiting with a young woman who worked at SSM. She said first of all, her commute is 2 hours from here. But on the weekend shift, she can't get here. I mean, this was one person I was talking to. I talked with Mark Henkel, who has 240 employees. He says it's very detrimental. It's very important public transportation for people that are applying. So we literally have hundreds of employees in 1.5 miles from Murdoch and Big Bend to Rock Hill. That's 1.5 miles. Rock Hill and Lockwood of that route. And there are hundreds of employees, literally. Plus Webster University and Eden Theological Seminary, so on camp, people that live on campus can't get downtown St. Louis on the weekend. So anyway, I had good source of somebody said, hey, they listen to people that do this, but they not necessarily citizens as much as commissions or city. So I took a stab at a draft of a letter, and it simply says, and this is to, I found out they're one of my customers, by the way. So I got the proper name to send this to. He's the chief operating officer. And I simply said, as chair of the City of Webster Groves Traffic Advisory Commission, I am writing with commission unanimous approval. Now, of course, this is a draft, so I'm just hoping we get that way. To request bi-state development, consider increasing bus frequency and days of operation of the number 56 route that goes through the heart of our community. We've experienced 2 reductions of service in the past several years and are concerned that not only the reduction of the frequency of service, but the elimination of weekend service hurts our community and workforce. In just 1.5 miles from the intersection of Murdoch Lockwood to the intersection of Lockwood Rock Hill, hundreds of restaurant and store employees work directly on the route. A very large percentage of that workforce does not live in our community. In addition, Webster University and Eden Theological Seminary are on this stretch. On-campus students are unable to travel downtown to St. Louis during the weekend. We've talked with several business owners, and their universal belief is that public transportation is a huge barrier for several potential employees and would be beneficial to many of their employees. Thank you for your consideration. So again, it's a draft. My wife's a proofreader, so she will read this and make sure I don't have any grammatical.
Susan over there and I was like, oh, I'll move it to her.
Oh yeah, Susan is even a better proofreader.
Oh, now be careful what you say.
This is being
Oh yeah, thank you.
You said your wife.
That's right. So, oh good, this is good. I don't know if we need any further discussion or if we want to make additional points, but I think this might be a good start to send to them to just, and maybe I need to add, thanks for the consideration. They could follow up and call me if they have any want to talk person, but any thoughts to this?
Looks great to me.
Could they quantify the number of employees that use the bus?
I think it would be hard, or it might be hard to ask them to impose it.
Okay.
It was sort of anecdotal answers that I did get, honestly, but Mark did say he would look into his percentages and so forth in terms of how many live in Webster and some of that stuff.
That's not all the employers.
Exactly.
And you're not
That's just-
capturing the people who want to take the bus but can't due to the schedule. That's a whole different
Yeah.
number.
Well, I understand it's a difficult number to get, but I'm sure they would like to see, well, this many riders are affected.
Right.
I mean, it would carry more weight if we had it. We
Yeah.
don't have it, we don't have it.
I would think they know that though, and that's why they reduced the service. They're just
I
not,
think they make
it's
it,
not
yeah, they
profitable.
know how much
There's just not
pay.
a lot of demand for on that buses,
So
so that's why they've scaled it back.
But they scaled it back first during the pandemic. And then the second scale back wasn't about ridership, it was about their ability to hire drivers. So they haven't had any regular service post-pandemic along here that I think is a fair comparison to pre-pandemic before they took the action. So I think I agree with your point sort of fundamentally, but the data they have doesn't reflect, I would argue, doesn't reflect the true nature of where we are given the post-pandemic. Well, it's not even post, but where we are in the,
Post, yeah.
yeah, I mean, post is we're gonna get, I guess.
And it's one of those things too, that it's like, well, we don't have any riders, so we're not gonna have to serve it. You don't have any service, so you don't have to ride, you know, it's
Yeah.
one of
Well,
those.
this is what happened to rail service in this country, you
Right.
know, they discouraged it to the point that
Exactly.
they were able to eliminate it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it doesn't hurt to ask, even if,
Right.
even if the number is smaller than we all think it is, it still doesn't hurt to ask.
Right.
But supported by meaningful need, restaurants and so on.
Yeah.
So Clark, one thing that you might consider, and this would take it longer, I'm sure, is obviously we can put this on city letterhead. But sometimes when council wants to emphasize unanimity of the recommendation, everybody signs.
Yeah.
So it comes with 7 signatures
Yeah,
instead
no, I
of just
like-
one.
I like that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, they just reinstated, so I don't imagine they would do it again tomorrow, so I want to make sure we
Yeah.
do it right. And I think maybe if we can have that ready for the January meeting, we could all sign it at that time, it'd be great.
Yeah, and if you need some help getting on letterhead, just let me know.
Okay.
I can do that.
Excellent. So we will, I guess, I will call a motion to see if we want to proceed, in this direction. So I will make that motion that we will proceed to,
Second.
need a second.
And I didn't even let you finish.
That's all
sorry.
right, no,
I think this is great. I
It's
mean,
good.
all we can do is put it out there, right?
are we in unanimous favor? All right, thank you. Excellent. The next item of new business is, I just thought we should start thinking about our goals for, 2025, 2026. I believe in, February or March, the council will ask us to prepare a document that has our accomplishments for the past year and any budget requests and also what our goals are for the coming year. So I just want you to, over the holidays, make some room in your ideas. We could have some discussion right now about that as well, if we have anything that's burning. I got the scorecards of bike-friendly state report cards. Did you happen to see that? Missouri was 49th out of 50. What a shock. But it was, what I like about this, that's a state level, and I think we're doing some things on a local level to say we can't wait for the state on some of these things. And one of the big, the complete streets law policy, safe passing laws, statewide bike plans in the last 10 years, 2% of federal funds used on biking pedestrians, and speed limit laws for slow road. These are all things that how they quantify and rank states. And yeah, our report card was bad. I think Mississippi was the only state behind us. We weren't last, but to me, I think that our goal of supporting the Safe Streets for All and our Complete Streets emphasis is still very valid that we can do locally. But any other goals that you'd like for this?
So we're constantly talking about crosswalks, and we know we can't support the cost of making every crosswalk the way we'd like it to have. Could we compile a list of crosswalks?
I love that idea. I really do, and maybe even have a priority, we know that the solar powered flashing light is, $20,000 or whatever, maybe we really come up with a recommendation every year, 5 more are upgraded or something like that. But I think, yes, I'm right with you there. On the crosswalk policy or safety.
In certain sense, it's not so much that I'm feeling like, hey, city, do these things as we ask, but we just should understand what we're dealing with as a set. Doesn't mean it's moving pressure out anywhere. It's just understanding our situation.
Well, not only that, we've been asked by staff with the parking policy, to kind of help with a game plan. So this would be something similar, just a game plan, so that when staff goes to look at it, they're like, okay, yeah.
So
Uh-oh.
I have taken some initiative on that. I've worked with Sanan and Paul. I'm going to put together a list of what we discussed. I'm perfectly willing to share that with the committee, have them take a look at it and see that I'm capturing the right viewpoints. Because I really need to put together something to get back to council with. And
Talking about parking or crosswalks, right?
parking,
Okay.
for the parking proposal.
So our subcommittee was gonna meet tomorrow night
Right.
to work on that.
I haven't put it together yet. I
Okay.
would suggest not having that subcommittee meeting, and then I can either share it with all of TAC or I can share it with the subcommittee members. I know that a few of you had a lot of input, like in designing this, so we're working with Sanan to try to capture how we're gonna do this. I will then share that with you, and then that's one of the other things we're attempting to do is figure out, how we're gonna section off. So I think we have a pretty good game plan, so I'll run that by you to see what you think.
So, I mean, so at the last meeting, there was sort of the request for us to help implement. Are you
Yeah,
taking that up?
I might have got ahead of my skis on that one a little bit, so. I'm going to
Hey, we're
take on a lot of,
party
take on
tomorrow.
a lot of responsibility, so I will work on that. My goal is to have that done sometime this week. The question is, does all of TAC want to see it, or do those members of the subcommittee want to be the ones that help me with that?
I would say first pass with the subcommittee maybe, because then
Because- right.
it's just a
Yeah.
small group. So that's,
There are some complexities that won't work out, like how do you know, and I don't want to get into a discussion about this, but for those that are having the permit parking, how is the city supposed to just, is the thought that we were gonna give them any kind of notification, we're just gonna remove them?
So you mean if an ordinance is repealed, how are those people notified?
Is it just gonna be at this date, this all of a sudden goes away, and then they have to re-put in with the shared parking and do the petition of the 75%? Right? Is that the thought process?
I think, well, our committee never came to
Yeah,
conclusion
why
on
don't-
that,
why
but
don't-
yes.
May I suggest that you leave them with the open-ended questions and they can make a recommendation?
Yeah,
Will do.
I
So
was gonna
there
say-
are some things when we talked about this in our side meeting, we have some question on.
I think that exact question was one that we had, that
Yeah.
the city might have a preference. But if it comes back and the city or staff doesn't have a preference, then we can by all means try to come up with a recommendation.
May I suggest, if you already know, I'm sorry,
Well, I was gonna say that.
if you already know of particular elements that you think need to be addressed, share that with us now. We're gonna get together tomorrow evening and talk about this. Or tomorrow afternoon, I can't remember.
Evening.
But I think the chief's asking for a little bit of time to
Those are-
organize
yeah.
his thoughts so that he has it in
Yeah.
written form for you
I'm
all.
okay.
I'm okay with it.
With,
He wants us to put off our meeting,
okay, okay.
so that's okay. I think.
It is
we'll
the
survive.
holidays, and it's probably, I think, fair enough.
Exactly.
But I don't want
Kind of
to,
have a treat, sure.
yes.
What I'm basically saying is I'm going to try to do most of the legwork, but I would like to review to make sure that I'm giving you the correct intentions of the proposal,
Sure.
assuming we have.
The correct intention. Well, I mean, you and I were here from the beginning on that, so, yeah. We were too, yeah.
Our thinking has evolved. Another one again, this will be the last time, but the density thing's a little bit foggy for me, so
Okay.
that would be another one where you talk about if there's 6 houses in a 300 stretch versus like So maybe I need a little more explanation, clarity on that, but I think I have enough to at least put together a rough draft.
Okay.
And then ideally we'll look at getting something back.
So just to recap, what I'm hearing is you're gonna take a little time.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what you guys suggested initially, and then,
But then any questions, we have a subcommittee
Correct.
waiting to,
I can, and I think that they were, the ones in the subcommittee were pretty instrumental in
Yeah.
drafting the document.
is it you three?
Mhm.
So,
You-
so you can just reach out to them when you're appropriate.
We can even, I'm sure, put input in by email.
Well, I'm
too.
sure you will. I'm sure you will. Yeah,
Okay,
Because that's, if we keep
Excellent.
it 3, then we can do it by email without.
and then, you know, if anybody's curious, so.
but I think we've had a lot of practice. So back to what Rob was talking about for our goals for next year, if we want to work on a crosswalk policy, I think we have a lot of, we have a year and a half of expertise in how to shorten that. But I think that's a really good, that's been up here for me too. I really think that, I mean, I would challenge Mr. Buck over here on what the most dangerous crosswalk is, but I think we all have our most dangerous crosswalks, and there are several. And I think it's something, seems to be a passion of ours, and seems to be something that we could, you know, it's not to say, okay, you gotta do this now, but a sort of a guidelines to help the city when they're making recommendations, and to prioritize and inventory and.
So I'm not sure, but it sounds like in terms of equipment that goes with it, like flashings and buttons and things, that different ones require different requirements, not. So we might find that there are low cost crosswalks and expensive crosswalks and things like
Low
that.
cost is paint.
Yeah,
Well, but for the sake, true
there's
outcomes.
no real metrics for crosswalks.
No, but I think that people
you
could
mean
look at it and just say, well, this one
I see what you're
is
saying.
way more dangerous than this one. This one you can just paint. This one you've got to put something else. Well, you'd like to put something else, right? So we sort of see,
So like high priority.
yeah, maybe we could get
Crosswalks.
7 crosswalks for $7,000, where in other cases it'd be 2 for 20. Or
One thing, I'm sorry.
No.
One thing people I've noticed is people like the flashing stop signs. I'm getting individual requests for those.
Mhm.
If we were to put flashing stop signs, it kind of reduces the effect of flashing stop signs. So
Definitely does.
that is the factor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, by looking at them as a whole, we actually get to see that. We're like, well, look, we don't want more than 5 per square mile or something, or 1 per square mile, or, you know, what, I'm not an expert, and there are people here who are, but
No, but
lay it
I
out
think-
for ourselves.
Yeah, just a list of those high priority locations, like Mr. Buck threw one out, and Selma and Glendale over by the rec center, and just to see them listed, those locations might be helpful. I don't know,
And Kirk,
staff may already have their list, but
You know, one thing we might want too is even the considered and declined locations. What I mean is, so sometimes you put something on a to-do list, you're like, nope, we're not really gonna do that. And then later it comes back on your to-do list because people are like, well, why didn't we do it? You know, the to-don't list, like Cedar, right?
list.
I have a perhaps list of them.
Well, we're talking about listing and prioritizing the ones that are there. No one has suggested we consider ones that should be there.
Well, I think, well, okay, I am considering.
Okay.
Just Rob is, but, yeah, like Cedar, we thought we'd put one in, it did seem more dangerous than we thought at first. Even that's up for debate, but let's put it on the list. And if we decide we will not do this one, let's keep it on the list of like, we decided not to because, and then 10 years from now, we're all not going through this all.
I'm gonna tell you, I feel pretty strongly about the Cedar, and if that was to be recommended to go in, I would recommend that there be some sort of single attached with that,
Sure.
because of the sight line, because of the speeds, because of the volume of traffic. That one to me feels unsafe, just laying down paint
Yeah.
and a sign.
And
So,
let's say that costs $20,000.
right,
And we put it on our list, we're like, you know, we'd love to do Cedar, but we're not going to because we can get these other things done for less money. You know, how do we net improve safety for this?
I was just gonna add, coming out of the Safe Streets for All demonstration
I was just
projects,
about
to
to say.
have the inventory like that then puts us in a position to write the grant for, because eventually it always does come down to where you're gonna get the money.
Mhm.
And that is a good way to set up the next phase and to go out and find the money. We obviously will try and budget some of it too, but if we want to do a lot of it, we gotta find an external source.
I mean, the Safe Street project's gonna put a speed hump near Swan and Elm. And it's going to do something along, it's gonna do signal timing along Elm between Big Bend and Kirkham. And then it also is going to do some sort of walking path on the North Elm between Lockwood and Kirkham. Those are all demonstration projects. They're not necessarily permanent, but perhaps some of those issues will reduce or the concerns of some of the, and we don't know until we measure that data. I
Is the speed hump going on Elm or is it going on Swan?
believe it's going on home. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So for January, and I'll send out a reminder, if there's anything else that you think you'd like to have on our goals for next year, come to the January meeting with those.
So, Clark, if I may, I should have at the January meeting, the new form that will give everyone, that's just a little more detailed than last year's.
Okay. Excellent.
Which will ask also to leave some time to talk a little bit about the role of boards and commissions as you then work on setting.
Perfect. Excellent.
Hopefully that will be ready.
Yeah, okay.
have you all seen the proposed projects for Safe Streets?
No, we got a verbal list.
Okay.
Excuse me. We got a verbal
Yeah,
list, but we
you
haven't seen
should,
it.
you should.
Yeah, there's a website. We tell you what they are.
They're on there.
Yeah, and the website just went live last week.
Oh, I was
Already?
saying,
Yeah.
I will,
Send us the link.
I'll do something. I'll be sure. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'll do something.
Perfect. Anyone else have any other new business?
Sona's got something to say.
Departments on the very bottom, WG.
Well, here,
Safe Streets for, yeah, okay. Departments,
Man.
if you go down, see.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And there is access to the survey from here.
there's a survey.
Awesome.
Nice.
Departments. And then
Go all the way to the
scroll all the
bottom.
way down.
Departments,
The very last one.
Safe
That was going right
Streets.
past.
Oh.
so everybody knows.
Oh.
So I have to, this will tell you an idea what the projects are, if you're curious.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Okay, so we should all post it on Facebook and such.
Yes. Share away.
Thank you, Fernand.
Anything else anyone want to bring up for new business before we go on to,
I sent out, calendar invites, just, I think most of you responded, and sent them all out in one day, so you're welcome.
I thought something was wrong with your computer.
And then I figured out that some of the dates I didn't like, so I resent out some. I did my best to try to
you
keep.
did great.
Yeah, no.
So,
And Susan has already jumped in for the October meeting. she's gonna be our leader for the October meeting.
I would ask that,
I will be in Vermont.
I don't need like a running total of everybody attending. If you're not gonna be there, can you let me know in advance that month so that I can make sure we have a quorum? Because if we don't have a quorum, it's likely not going to be. That's my stuff. I'm done.
It was good. Like it. And I've got to say that we were all hooked up here and
Yeah.
all of that. It was amazing. I was excited to see that.
It was Sanan, he did it before I got it.
He sat there quietly. He was gonna let you take that.
And Sanan, you have been just such a great addition to
Yes.
this group. I wanted to
Amen.
really thank
Thank
you
you.
and
Glad to be here.
we're so happy you're here.
Thank you.
And we also are happy you got promoted, you know.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Well
congratulations.
deserved.
Appreciate it.
And let's see, have you been promoted?
No.
So you
I
have the
haven't been,
floor though.
but I
Do you
have the
any-
floor. Yeah, I do have a few. January 7th is our first council meeting of the year, and we will have the public hearing for the KVC Children's Hospital proposed adolescent mental health hospital. So that would be the 7th, with the expectation that 2 weeks later would be a council vote on the project. I have just learned that we will get our next update for the comprehensive plan on February 4th at that meeting. So,
And
that-
there's a lot of stuff that
it
it really,
there is.
it does, you know, affects this.
Yeah,
commission.
so we will, and Clark, you and I can work on this. We can share what comes to council with this commission so that
Right.
people get the update of that. Tomorrow night at our meeting, we will vote for the ordinance that does the boundary adjustment for Oxford Bend Park, which is the new park in the border of Maplewood that we're doing Great Rivers Greenway. So get really excited, because then now we're gonna have to wait for the boundary commission. And as soon as the boundary commission does its work, then we can begin construction on the
So
park.
did everyone know that goes right, half of it's Maplewood and half of it's Webster.
The old McDonald's was literally
Oh,
situated in 2 cities, yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah, so. But it's gonna be great, it's gonna be great once it gets there, cause there's some nice,
Awesome.
some nice things about it, and the connection of the greenway would be terrific. And then, Chief, I'm gonna put you on the spot, because I happened to run into your boss, the chief, who mentioned to me that, the staffing levels in the police department are really in good shape. I mean, better shape than they have been for a long time. Do you want to mention that at all? Because I think that helps with some of the questions of enforcement and, you know, people who are having to work a ton of overtime and things like that.
We are doing some different things to try to be more competitive in the overall hiring process. And so some of those changes are starting to bear some quality candidates. It's more about trying to be quicker with when we get an applicant, starting that process, getting the interview and getting quickly into the backgrounds and things like that. So Erin helps me out too, so I gotta give her some credit. She kind of we're working kind of hand in hand with HR, and it's the process is getting us a couple of hires here. So
Well, if I understood correctly, our staffing levels, as soon as whoever is in the pipeline gets on board, will be higher than they have been since I've been on the council, apparently. Do you think that's true? We've always been down like 6, I think. Maybe it was since I was mayor, not since I was on council, because I was go
Probably
back
mayor.
further. Yeah, okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Council, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was probably mayor, but
Yeah.
Aaron, I didn't know. Thank you, because that I know is important to the community, and I know you all have been working on that. So thanks for that. And then I know some of this commission, or maybe it was Green Space, who's worked with Paul from Public Works, just wanted to let you know he got a promotion too. So
Good.
some very good work within the city is being
He got
recognized.
promoted right out of our group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really all I have, unless anybody has questions for me about other things.
On the comprehensive plan, what's the, sort of the timing?
In theory, we should have delivery of that in June. I'm gonna say in theory because I honestly don't know if that will slip further in the summer or not. I hope not.
I gotta tell you that a different group I'm in, I was looking at Shrewsbury and Kirkwood and Maplewood for some housing things.
Yeah.
All the cities seem to be going through a comprehensive plan. Ours was by far, I thought, the best.
Oh, that's good.
It was really comprehensive, and it included things that some of the other cities just didn't seem to think were important. So I was super impressed.
So I would attribute that largely to the fact that the RFP that we wrote for this was pretty broad, and we had some great finalists, but once we picked a group, you all got to talk to them, sustainability got to talk to them in terms of their thinking about their scope of work and what they're working on. It went well beyond just speaking to council members or the top staff leadership. And I think that means it's more reflective of what the community is interested in including. So,
Exciting.
yeah,
Who was it?
it's Lakota Group.
Good. No need to, I know we like each other's company, and it's the last time we're gonna be together this year, so I don't wanna prolong it too long, but I know, we all have other commitments, and anything else anyone wants to?
I wanna, oh, go ahead.
Well, I have an article I'd like to share with the
Yes,
members of the commission.
Please.
The title is Officials Accused of Using Speed Humps for Retribution.
You mean that's possible?
A group of residents in the Shields Township have a bumpy relationship over the installation of speed humps around the township, with some accusing the supervisor of maliciously choosing their location. Supervisor Jeff Urso denied the claims, arguing the humps were installed for pedestrian safety after a child was non-fatally struck while crossing the street in front of the baseball fields at a park, and are generally supported by residents. Kathy Blahunka, a longtime Shields Township resident, routinely attends township meetings, along with her mother, Janice Schnobridge. During a November 14th meeting, both sharply criticized Urso and the township on a range of issues, including the installation of the speed humps. Blahunka is part of a group of residents opposed to them. She claims several people have had speed humps installed in front of their homes in retaliation for speaking out against Urso. 4 people got speed humps put in front of their house, and there was no communication with the public, Blahunka said. They've abused people with these speed humps.
bunka.
Urso said he was aware of the complaints, but argued most township residents support the speed humps, which slow down traffic. Now, in addition to this, while some feel the installations were done as acts of political retaliation, Urso said township officials have also received complaints that they had installed speed humps in front of homes as a favor to certain residents. He denies both claims.
I believe you have a future in dramatic reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I read a Facebook post today from my hometown, and there was, somebody was complaining about people were protesting the speed bump by honking their horn every time they went over it. And they were like, there's people that live, you know,
Yeah.
they're not affecting the person that put it there.
That
so-
put it in.
But maybe it was in,
It's to get people to complain, yeah.
This sounds like an opportunity to raise money for the city. You know, so much for a speed bump. And you get to pick where it goes.
And twice as much.
Really don't like me at all.
But you can also pay money to have it not go there, so there can be bidding wars.
Yeah.
well, thank you for that.
Yes.
I really was
That's
a
a
good.
perfect way to end the
Thanks for
year.
having the meeting. Our next meeting is January 20th. Oh, you had
I
something.
had something.
You did.
I just was gonna thank the mayor. I don't know if everybody realizes, but you went and talked to the World Civ student
Oh,
at the
I
high
did.
school.
Yes, I had a chat
I-
with your son.
Yes, I heard about it from even more kids than just my son, and I even had another student reach out and set up an interview with me to ask about what we do on TAC. As
Oh,
part of his-
excellent.
I know, as part of an assignment for
Yeah.
them. So,
Should be a merit badge.
yeah, I know. I just thought it was great. The students, I mean, I talked to a few of them, they really enjoyed hearing from you.
Oh,
So,
that's, thank you
You
for
might have
mentioning
a
that.
dramatic
Yeah.
reading ability yourself.
Well, you all will be very happy to know that many of them are interested in bikeability, pedestrian safety, and things like that. So when they heard there were things going on, you know, the interest sparked a lot. So it was great. Thanks for mentioning it.
Cool, nice.
I just thought it was,
Wow, I'm
yeah.
feeling like we're leaving this year on a really high note, and a positive note, and we don't have any retribution going on or any fighting or anything.
Or any favors.
Any favors?
Any favors?
Right, so, do I hear a motion to,
A motion we adjourn for the
Adjourn?
year.
second? All in favor? All
Enjoy,
right.
everybody.
Happy
This
New Year.
commission is a fundraising commission. Some of them are a verbalization commission. You just don't know which is gonna